What's good, everybody? Welcome into Early Edge Live as we count down to the last game of Week 11, Monday Night Football. That's right, and this game being played in Mexico, the fourth game all-time in the NFL being played in Mexico. It's the 49ers, it's the Cardinals. It is very, very important for both teams if they want to have any shot at a playoff run later in the winter. Now, let's bring in the stars of the show because we have no time to waste. For those of you who are brand new to the Early Edge, first of all, welcome. SportsLine, we want everybody, but on this show, we do our best bets. We do any prop that we can talk about. If you have a prop that you like, throw it into the chat. Add the juice for me. My crew needs it, and we will address as many as we possibly can getting up to the top of the hour. I need you guys to do me a solid, though. I need you to hit the like button. I need 500 likes if we're going to get the goose tonight, if we're going to get the donkey tonight. By the way, Alex, last night, did we hit a goose yesterday?
We hit a goose early on in the day, Coach.
Plus 525. And that's where we're starting. Live from parts unknown. Technically, your profitable week streak still continues. Technically.
Hola, Senor Coachman. Hola, Primo Najad. Hola, Senor McClure. Great to see you. Shout out to my friends in Mexico and Mexico City. I don't consider my profit week consecutive streak. I think it's come to an end, Coach. I'm coming to terms with that. We did get the Isaiah Pacheco bet last night. That was awesome. However, we did fall 3 yards short of a plus 3,000 ticket. And it's still stinging because his live line was 119.5. The Chiefs had the ball with 7 minutes and 30 seconds left, and he did not get a one additional rushing attempt. So that was a very bad beat.
Hey, Maestro, I encourage you to let it go and move on to tonight's game. I really do, Mr. Hartstein. I really, really do. Now, next, he is the most handsomest man in all of the Early Edge universe. We call him Sia Najad, and it doesn't matter if it's daily fantasy, weekly fantasy, or just straight picks. The man's a savage. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. And first of all, I didn't know Alex was bilingual. That's pretty impressive. And it reminds me, we've got a not only a revenge game for Colt McCoy, because of course everybody knows he played for San Francisco in 2013, but he's also from New Mexico, and this is being played in Mexico City. So, home game, right?
That's a stretch. That is a stretch, a big-time stretch. It is not a stretch, however, to say this man is also a savage in his own way. You can see these two together all week long, twice a week for DFS. He is live from Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, the penthouse level. M Squared, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Coach. Proppy Sia, great to see you guys fired up for this game. I love this game. I love that we play at altitude. I love everything about this game. Can't wait for it.
All right, well, let's get right into it because we got a lot to break down. There are so many stars running all over the field tonight. But what are the bets that we need to sink our teeth into? This is what we do right now. This is where we start. See ya. Start us off. What do you like tonight?
Yeah, I'm glad you kind of queued me up a little bit because you said there's so many stars on the field tonight, and most of them are on the San Francisco side. My bet is on the other side because I think we're going to see a concentration of targets, particularly in the passing game, to Rondale Moore and, of course, DeAndre Hopkins, assuming DeAndre Hopkins stays healthy the full game, which I suppose I expect. I have Rondale Moore over 53.5 receiving yards at minus 104. In some places, this is 54.5, and it's juiced to the under. I still like 54.5. Last week, Rondale Moore caught 9 of 13 targets for 94 yards. The last 3 games, those games, of course, would include Colt McCoy and Kyler Murray. 8 targets, 10 targets, 13 targets. Add to that, we still have no Marquise Brown, and we don't have Zach Ertz this week either. So, we don't have Zach Ertz for the rest of the season. So Trey McBride, of course, is going to come in. Maybe he picks up a couple extra targets, but some of those short area targets are likely also going to Rondale Moore. His average yards per catch is very high. It's on average, it's in the double digits over the last few games. I just really like this spot. I think the market's a little wrong here. I love that Colt McCoy is starting. Colt McCoy is going to get the ball out very quickly. He's very good pre-snap, and I see a lot of targets going to Rondale Moore, so much so that the prop for his receptions is 5.5, and it's juiced to the over. So, it's like minus 150 at 5.5. So I really think he's going to get a lot of catches, and I think he's going to find some soft spots in the zone or in the coverage against San Francisco. So I think he could cruise over this 53.5 or 54.5 yard total. San Francisco is very good on defense, very good against the run, not quite as good against the pass. So I think Rondale Moore is going to eat tonight.
I love this play to start. I absolutely love everything that you said. I also like the fact that this is a rare night for us because everything we kind of like, including the Cardinals, it's going in our direction because of the Colt McCoy news that we already assumed because we've been talking about all week right here on Early Edge Live. That's play number one. Proppy. You're sitting there like a rabid dog, ready to pounce. You're like, losing week? What losing week? What do you like tonight?
Can I just say that I love how AB, when he's controlling the sticks, if Sia or I talk too long, he goes from the single screen to the 4 screen, and then Sia and I just keep on talking and doesn't even phase us. So just love how AB does that, and Sia and I just ignore it. But I am going George Kittle over 45.5 receiving yards. I just think this is a fabulous spot for a George Kittle potential spike game. The Cardinals, they are the worst defense in the NFL against opposing tight ends. They give up 78 yards per game to the position. That is more than anyone in the NFL. They're ranked 30th in DVOA to the tight end position. If we look across all the tight ends that have played the Cardinals this year, they have had spike games, whether it's Noah Fant twice, Dallas Goedert. The list just goes on and on and on. Furthermore, Kittle's had great historical success against the Cardinals as well. Over his last 7 games against Arizona, he's eclipsed this 6 times, and he's averaging close to 80 receiving yards against Arizona. So they are by far the leakiest, worst defense at covering tight ends, and he is a premier tight end. I think his numbers are somewhat suppressed because of the fact that he has so many blocking responsibilities. One thing or additional component I like about this game is that the Cardinals don't generate much of a pass rush. They have 19 sacks this season. That is in the bottom third in the NFL. So I think Kittle's going to be able to run some additional routes tonight because he won't have to do all that blocking. So love George Kittle over 45.5 receiving yards. I also like his longest reception over 19.5 yards. I loved his 3.5 reception line that opened at -130, but that has since steamed up to over 4.5. I'd lay off there, but love it 45.5. I'd play it up to 47.5, and I would also sprinkle a little if you want to get in some additional action on his longest reception.
By the way, my book still has it at 3.5. What do you think the juice is?
-170.
Try 197. 197. Wow. Now, several of our cappers at SportsLine and the Early Edge, they differ on tonight. When this line was 8, when Kyler was still up to playing, the Maestro is on the 49ers minus the 8. Micah Roberts is on the Cardinals plus the 8. Then the news comes out, and it moves up to 10. So I'm officially giving this out at 10.5. I know we don't normally recommend buying a half a point, but Mikey tells you all the time, 3, 7, 10. So important to get through those numbers. So I'm going to lay a little bit of juice, -128. I'm going to take the Cardinals plus 10.5. By the way, Steve in the chat said, I cannot believe it's plus 10. Give me more. That's the way I feel too, Steve. It never should be this high. We've seen all these big numbers this year. Philadelphia couldn't cover against whoever else they were playing. The Commanders. You can't lay double digits when you're on the road. I don't care if it's not in Arizona. It's not in San Francisco. I can tell you that. So we'll take the Cardinals by the half a point up to 10.5. Mikey, do you also like the Cardinals tonight?
I do, yeah. That's the side I lean towards. I'll be looking to bet them in-game at certain opportunities. Also looking to potentially bet them live in the first quarter. They're currently plus 200 on the money line to win in the first quarter. You obviously have a push if the score is tied 0-0, 3-3, 7-7, whatever it may be. So depending on where the kickoff goes or the first 2 or 3 plays of the game on that possession, yeah, I like the Cardinals side quite a bit here in this particular spot. It's just a number that's friendly to have that backdoor cover in a division game.
For those of you who are brand new to the brand or brand new to the show, let me just tell you, we had 3 primetime shows last week. I disagreed with Mikey on all 3. What do you think happened? I lost all 3. We're not going to do that tonight. Go ahead, Mikey.
Just one more quick note, because I know we're going to see questions about it probably. This game being played in Mexico City, it is played at altitude. A lot of people don't realize that. 7,200 feet, 2,000 feet more than playing at Mile High in Denver has a pretty significant impact. Where I expect it to have an impact is in the kicking game. They can legitimately kick from 65 yards consistently in this stadium if they want to. This altitude adds between 8 to 10 yards to a kick. That is a significant thing for a team like the Cardinals, who can have a lot of success moving the football without punching the ball in. They can kick it from a little deeper. Matt Prater, someone who has had success and experience kicking at altitude with his time with the Denver Broncos.
And we will. That's a nice segue, Mikey. Thank you very much. Into our quarterback and kicker whisperer. Oh, voice of God, come down and enlighten us on your best bets tonight. And I'm assuming since you are God, you're going to cash both. What do we have tonight?
Welcome in, brethren. And I'll say this, getting very close to being quite blasphemous. So I'm going to walk this line very trepidly. Let me just go ahead and say that. No, we're going to play two plays here, and I'll go ahead and put it on the screen so that you guys can see it as well. All right, we're going to go first. The Cardinals team total over 16.5. Look, everything, Coach, that you laid out, Mike laid out, like kind of everyone, like the Cardinals have success against Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers, kind of how Shanahan owns the Rams. I'm not saying that, Kingsbury owns the 49ers, but they have had success. Remember, Colt McCoy beat the 49ers last year against Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Like they've done it before. We're also going to go Jimmy Garoppolo over half an interception tonight at plus 105. Look, everyone's going to go to Colt McCoy, and yeah, man, he could put one up for sure, but that juice is like minus 175 at this point. It's way too much. But the Cardinals get pressure on quarterbacks. And from what we've seen in these games, Jimmy Garoppolo generally has to throw a whole lot more against the Cardinals than he generally does against everyone else. He has success with yardage for sure. But if he's putting the ball up in the air that much, I think we're going to come down with one. And your Chick-fil-A nugget weird stat of the day, Jimmy Garoppolo is 10-2 in games when he does not throw a single touchdown pass.
Say that again.
Jimmy Garoppolo is 10-2 in NFL games when he does not throw a single touchdown pass.
All right. Tonight, his touchdown prop, by the way, is over 1.5 at minus 138. I'm going to throw that tonight. Not at all. By the way, Ron in the chat says, Coach, where's Pops? I hope they make it there safe. Hey, they're right out in the other room. He didn't want to be on camera, but they are here. First trip since the heart transplant, and we are fired up. That's why we're going to sweep the board, because Papa and Mama Coach are here tonight. Thank you, Sia. And see, I'm coming right back to you because we have several props that we've got to talk about. James Conner. Now, we know that he is supposed to be healthier, but his prop number for rushing is 51.5 minus 115. Is this a good matchup for him?
I don't think so. I think it's a bad match. I mean, the number's not terrible, but if I'm going to take anything there, it's going to be the under because, A, the Niners defense is very good. The front seven, the front four are very good. They don't create a lot of space before contact. I think that's one thing about the Niners, that they're in the top 5 in terms of getting contact, getting hits before other teams, other defensive lines do. So I think Connor's going to get worked, and I think he might get worked in the passing game a little bit too. So, I mean, I like Connor in general. I'd probably consider his rushing and receiving prop sooner than I'd consider his rushing prop.
Okay. And I was looking for that because I knew that you would probably say that, and I still don't have that number. So if anybody has the combo number, I would love to see it on another book because mine does not have it right now. Now,
76.5.
76.5. All right. There you go. Thank you very much. Now, Alex, we talked about all the stars. We've already talked about George Kittle. Talked about Rondell Moore. But there is a receiver for the Cardinals that since he's been back, they've looked, night and day better. And, of course, I'm talking about DeAndre Hopkins. His number looks like this tonight, over 6.5, over 74.5, minus 112. Either one of those attractive to you, sir?
I think both are fairly efficient. If I had to choose one, it would be his yards. I've been very encouraged with DeAndre Hopkins since returning from suspension. I anticipated him sort of having to get up to speed, but he's looked phenomenal since returning, hasn't missed a beat, and is getting just massive, massive target shares from a high-volume passing offense as well. Furthermore, I think Colt McCoy is honestly an upgrade to what we've seen from Kyler Murray for the majority of this season. I think with McCoy at quarterback, it's not much of a downgrade whatsoever. So I like DeAndre Hopkins in this matchup. I expect him to get 12-plus targets and very good chance he eclipses 75 receiving yards.
Very good. Mikey, I'm coming to you. We got another star. As Sia said, most of them are on the San Francisco side. So now that Christian McCaffrey is fully integrated into the offense, that's taken numbers away from Debo, from George Kittle, perhaps. His number looks like this, over 4.5, minus 141, over 36.5, minus 147. Let's start with Christian McCaffrey on that.
Christian McCaffrey, that's his receiving props?
Yeah, 4.5. Yeah.
Yeah, 4.5. I'm going to stay off of it. I like him there, but what I think is required to get there is going to be a very competitive game or one where they fall behind. One of the big impacts that I still think we have to talk about here is the effect of the altitude. This is the spot where you're more likely to see players take a play off or two. Getting gassed in between plays is where it typically shows up more than anything. Obviously, there's more plays than field goal attempts. The effect is big on the kicking game, but it's really big on these kind of plays. Now that Elijah Mitchell is there, they've got Debo. They're incredibly healthy. I'm not fading him. I'm not taking unders on him, but I think that the path to him hitting the over here is a path where they're either very neutral or potentially even trailing. At which point that is when you would want to go in and live bet because he's probably not already hit these numbers, and that's likely what's coming there. The only other thing I'll say about McCaffrey, because of the 49ers quickly, this team started their week. Tonight's Monday, so there's a long week. They started their week on Tuesday. They spent the entire week in Colorado Springs preparing at altitude. It's hard to replicate the altitude of Mexico City, but they have been preparing for it all week to get their bodies accustomed to it.
Mikey, this is a true story. When I was in college, I played basketball against Colorado College, which is in Colorado Springs. We walk into the gym, and up on the wall, it says 5,847 feet. Breathe deeply. And I'm like, damn, that's savage. I was like, does it really matter? A minute into the game, I was dying. Literally, coach, take me out. No, fight through it. Take me out. Fight through it. I fought through it. National Player of the Week, triple-double, got it done. We scored 118 points. But the point of the story is not to pat myself on the back. It's to tell you this is real. It is real at altitude. And if you don't get that body adjusted, like the 49ers are trying to do, it can be very difficult later into the evening. That's all I'm saying. Now, see, let me come back to you. Mikey said over. Let's talk the total for a second. 43, because this is a very delicate number. We thought last week the 49ers and the Chargers probably should, and then the 49ers took a long time to get going. They only managed 38. What do you make of this total tonight?
I'm leaning toward the over. It's funny. We had a question in the chat just now about, whether or not, and I'd actually like to get Mike and Alex's opinion on here as well, but whether or not the elevation is going to impact the over the total. I think it could. And I think most people might think of it in terms of, well, some of these guys are going to get on offense are going to get gassed out. And so you're not going to have as many dynamic plays. I actually see it as sort of the opposite. I think some players on defense could potentially gas out and create some opportunities for offensive explosive players. So regardless of the elevation, I'm actually leaning towards the over in this game. I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to be able to move the ball pretty efficiently. And I think the Colt McCoy and company are going to be able to move the ball better than people think. I'm actually leaning towards Colt McCoy's over in his completions. I think he's going to get a lot of completions, and I think there are going to be drives where he's going to look pretty good. So I would lean the over personally.
Okay, very good. Let me come to you, Alex, because we just mentioned Colt McCoy. There's a chat question on his attempts tonight, and his attempts are, let me make sure I got it, 34.5, completions 21.5. What does the lab tell you?
Yeah, I'd lean over on both those numbers. I definitely think that San Francisco is going to potentially try and attack the Cardinals through the air. I don't think this is going to be a game where they're going to run the football a ton. I think just based on the matchup, it's just a little bit easier to just do things through the passing game, which should lead to a quicker game, which should offer some more additional possessions potentially for Colt McCoy and Arizona. So definitely lean over on both those numbers. Real quick, just wanted to talk about Christian McCaffrey. Mike talked about Elijah Mitchell being back in the backfield and having a significant impact. And I definitely want to caution people when looking at McCaffrey's props, because Elijah Mitchell in his first week back handled 19 touches. He had 18 rushing attempts and then 2 targets in the passing game. Afterwards, Kyle Shanahan said that he would like to see these guys have an even 50-50 split in an ideal world. So I definitely anticipate Elijah Mitchell being on the field a ton. It's not going to be the same usage that we're used to with McCaffrey back in Carolina, where he's getting 25, 30 touches per game. He's had durability issues throughout his career. So I absolutely think I would definitely suggest or implore people to err cautiously with McCaffrey with Elijah Mitchell active.
Yeah, that's a great point, because Mikey, I'm coming to you. And at my book, Debo doesn't even have a rushing prop tonight. And we've seen him be the Christian McCaffrey with all three. Why do you think now they're leaning more to Christian McCaffrey, and should we just be very careful with what we do with Debo?
Yeah, I think you got to be careful with Debo. There are just a number of options. Look, the real goal here for them is to not have Jimmy throw the football if they don't have to, and to limit touches for everybody so they're all healthy for a postseason run. That's really what their goal is here at this point. As far as Debo's rushing, like he's definitely got the upside to get there. However, the days of 8 rushing attempts are long gone. Like we're not seeing that unless one of these two guys gets hurt in this game, essentially, and the game is ultimately incredibly competitive. I think that's the only scenario where you're seeing more than 4 touches out of the backfield for Debo personally. It's just not enough to get there because the way they like to use them, there's a good chance that one of those 4 carries is negative 3 to 4 yards as well.
There you go. And that's why he is the man. Now, I need all of you to hit that like button for me. We are getting to the time of the show. We're going to hit a couple more props, but then we've got to hit the donkey tonight, the goose tonight, the gem tonight. Who's going to get into the club? Is it going to be you? You? Who's it going to be tonight? Now, let me come to you because we're talking about all of these quarterbacks, Sia, and everything Alex laid out. If they're going to throw it, Jimmy G, 247.5. I saw somebody in the chat said their book has it at 250.5. And Colt McCoy, much less than that at 225.5. Either guy tonight that you're really bullish on?
Not really, but it goes back to Colt McCoy here. I think the yardage is fine if you want to take the over, but my preference there is to take the completions at 21.5. Again, I think he's going to pepper his targets, especially in the short area routes. He's a guy, his release is very quick. I mean, he's reading things pre-snap and he's letting the ball go. I think that's going to lend itself to maybe not as many yards, but certainly some completions. So whether it's attempts or yards or completions, my read here is Colt McCoy on completions.
I am putting that in right now. Real-time betting on the early edge. All right, couple more. One for Alex, one for Mikey. Then we're going to get into the fun stuff. Now, we always talk about this, Alex, every single week, and yet still either it's a new person, it's somebody that really likes that low numbers. Juwan Jennings, over 1.5, low numbers again, like 7.5. I mean, these numbers are crazy. Why do we stay clear of these type of bets? Because so many people want to bet them.
Just doesn't really have a target floor. Also, the 49ers are a low-volume passing offense. He's at best fifth or sixth in the pecking order, so he could easily go the entire game without being targeted, especially in a neutral game environment or a game environment where there are significant favorites. Then there's just not going to lead to a lot of passing volume. So staying away from those types of props, personally, unless you have a strong feeling about it, I just don't think a lot of value is there. Coach, I did want to hit on one thing really quickly.
Sure.
That's Brandon Ayuk tonight. We don't talk about this guy enough. He's having a fantastic season. He leads the 49ers in receiving. He's been very good. Sort of his MO prior to this season was he was a very great talent that hadn't been able to put it together on the field, but he's having an excellent year. He's been very consistent too. He's been the number one option for this 49ers football team, has good chemistry with Jimmy G as well, and he is their number one option when it comes to downfield passing. No Byron Murphy Jr. tonight. He is the best defensive back, or at least the best cornerback for the Cardinals, and he's done a really good job actually of shadowing opposing number one wide receivers all year. So this is a big boost to Ayuk's matchup tonight. And there's a reason why Jimmy Garoppolo's passing yards is 247, which is by far higher than it's been all season long. So I really do anticipate Jimmy G airing it out a bit more than normal, and I really like Brandon Ayuk. I obviously like George Kittle, and I do think this is a spot for Debo as well to get additional targets. So like all of these San Francisco pass catchers tonight.
Oh, then it sounds like you kind of think the 49ers win big tonight. Yes?
I more think they're just going to choose to attack through the air.
Okay. Very good. All right, last one. Mikey, coming back to you. People are chewing on, you said, that first quarter money line at plus 200. What about the spread? I have it 3 for the first quarter, minus 104, plus 3 for Arizona. Would you like that?
Yeah, I lean into it. It does impact a little bit on who gets the ball first, but I do lean that way with the points. I think they're able to move the ball well enough to get into field goal range at least. So I'll lean that way.
Okay, very, very good. And that is where we're going to end the audience participation portion of the program, sort of. All right, voice of God, real quick. They ask about kickers before we get into the fun stuff. The numbers, oh, geez, of course my phone freezes. The number on the kickers tonight, would you like playing their points, which is at, gosh darn it, I'm so sorry. I just froze up on
Hey,
me.
Coach, let me say this.
Okay,
As your friend, The Rock, once said, it doesn't matter what the numbers are. Look, Mikey is 100% right. You are at altitude, 7,200 in the air. All your kicking props are up for tonight. Yeah, now I would say this. The 49ers turn a lot of clock, right? So you want to find ways that you want to get the most minimal effort, if that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking at field goal kickers over 1.5, I think that is your much better way to go, as opposed to needing 6.5, 7.5 types of points, because it could be not a super high scoring game. And for the kickers to reach 7.5 points, you're going to need 2 field goals generally anyway, right? So over 1.5, yeah, on both sides, yeah.
Okay, very, very good. Thank you, voice of God. Now, where are we at, AB, on the likes currently?
We are currently at 398. So I'm going to make a ruling really quick, all right? Here it is. We're going to give them both of them, but they have to smash it right now and hit 500 before we finish. So I say we had
a lot of people come in because they know we're doing stuff a little earlier. We're going to do the best bets one more time. And if we're not there by the end of the best bets, we're not going to do it.
There we go.
So you've got about 2 minutes to smash that like button. Take the chat down, hit it, put it right back up, and tease each other till your heart's content. All right, I need that best bet screen. I need 15 seconds or less. Sia, start us off. What's your best bet tonight?
Yeah, it's Rondale Moore over 53.5 receiving yards. Listen, he's been a target monster. He's been very efficient with it. It's likely a negative game script. And you don't have Zach Ertz or, of course, Marquise Brown. Colt McCoy is not a downgrade for this bet at all, in my opinion. His catch prop is 5.5. If he gets over that, he's getting over this number, in my opinion. Give me over 53.5 receiving yards for Rondale Moore.
Boom. Proppy, talk to me.
George Kittle over 45.5 receiving yards. The Cardinals are the worst team in the NFL at covering tight ends. They are 30th in DVOA to the position. They allow 78 yards per game to opposing tight ends. George Kittle's also had great historical success against Arizona. He's averaging 80 receiving yards in his previous 7 games against the Cardinals.
All right, then I'm going to go with the Cardinals plus 10.5. This game shot up by a point and a half when it was announced that Colt McCoy would be the starting quarterback and not Kyler Murray. I'm very excited about that fact because we get an extra point and we get the hook, and I love it. No NFL team on a Sunday night away from home should be favored by this many points over a Cardinals team that looked pretty good last week. So I'll take the Cardinals plus 10.5. Mikey, back me up 15 seconds why you like the Cardinals tonight.
Yeah, I like the Cardinals side. It's not that much of a road environment for them. They have a good environment there at altitude and just the crowd in Mexico City. That's a team that has a relationship with Mexico.
There you go. Maestro's on the 49ers. Micah is on the Cardinals. We got a lot of differing opinions. Sometimes that can be fun. Voice of God, what do you like tonight?
Yes, sir. We've got 2 plays going. Cardinals team total over 16.5. Just 2 touchdowns and a field goal. That's all we need tonight, baby. Let's go. And we're going to go Jimmy Garoppolo. The no-fly zone is open and across the border. It is global. I don't care where you travel. He's throwing a pick tonight at plus money.
The fam loves when the no-fly zone is open. One other quick one, because my man Aaron in the chat has asked several times, and I apologize, haven't got to it. Mikey, this is all yours, big boy. Do you like this FanDuel boost?
Let's see. Debo, 40 yards. Debo's definitely the questionable leg on it, honestly. He just doesn't have a ton of usage currently. I think we will see a week at some point where a lot of what's going to Brandon Ayuk goes Debo's way to kind of even things out a little bit. But I'm not playing it at this point because I think it's a huge George Kittle opportunity, and I think they still find some success on the ground.
All right, there you go. Aaron, that was for you. Those boosts are fun. They're fun to look at and say, man, I like that number. But there's a reason they give them to you. All right? There's a reason they give them to you. We give you same-game parlays that actually hit. So it is that time. I'm assuming we're over 500 now. If you're brand new to the brand, as we hit the top of the hour, it's 8 o'clock in the east, 5 o'clock in the west. We give you 2 different same-game parlays. We also play a little game called The Gym. If you want to play, who do you think is going to score a touchdown plus 1,000 or higher to start the game? and you can get into the club. We're still doing our naming thing. Haven't found one yet I really can sink my teeth into. All right, let's jump in to the donkey first. Give me the donkey.
There it is. All right, we're going alternate spread here on the Cardinals, up to 19.5, over 33.5 in the game. Colt McCoy, 194.5 passing yards. Jimmy G, 199.5. And then the 3 receiving props, DeAndre Hopkins, over 59.5 receiving yards. George Kittle, over 34.5. And Rondale Moore, 44.5 plus receiving yards.
I love that number, plus 675. That is the donkey. Now, one of our mascots here at the Early Edge, and we have several that we absolutely adore, and we love Goose. And Goose has now turned into a very profitable little kitty, hasn't he, Alex? Oh, no!
Oof. Oof.
I tried to save you. I tried to put the bell right over it. I tried.
Happens. But yes, Goose is a very profitable cat indeed. I was just looking over my shoulder to see if he was here, and he is not, which is strange. But yeah, he put this together this afternoon. 7 picks, plus 450 without a boost. And it is Christian McCaffrey, anytime touchdown scorer. The 49ers to score at least 21 points. Jimmy G to throw for at least 200 passing yards. Colt McCoy to throw for a minimum of 170 passing yards. James Conner to have less than 75 rushing yards. George Kittle, the man of the hour, to have over 35 receiving yards. And DeAndre Hopkins to have at least 60 receiving yards. If this game ends up being like 27-24, I think this has a great shot of cashing. Put it all together, plus 450 odds. Let's go.
You know what's crazy is that we talk about it all the time, that the anytime touchdown is the hardest one to hit on these. And that's like been the first thing to hit the last couple of weeks. It's really, really crazy. All right. Kirby in the chat says, C is going to get in tonight. I can feel it. Well, Kirby, I don't know if we all share that same feeling, but at least Sia, you got one guy on your side.
I love you,
All
Kirby.
Right. Love you, Kirby. All right, this is the time of the show that this is just strictly for fun, but we take it very seriously as well. There is a club, and several of us are in the club because we like to predict, because not everything has to be serious. No, it can be fun. Predict the first touchdown score of the game. It's got to be plus 1,000 or higher. You got to bring receipts too, because there's some that we get this look. So Mikey named this segment. It's his segment. He always, regardless of if he's in this season, he always gets to go first. The respect is there. M squared, you're up first.
Well, you know, you're going to look kind of that way when you hear this one, but it's none other than Keontae Ingram. And the number I actually played is plus 5,500. Backup running back here for the Cardinals. We know that they've shipped Eno Benjamin out of town. No backup here. We're playing at altitude. Altitude impacts after big plays. Should there be a big play that puts the Cardinals in the red zone, there is a chance that we see Ingram on the field for this one. Also, I will say, if there is a team in the NFL, I know we like them plus 10, but if there is one team and one coach who is not prepared for altitude or anything out there, it could be Cliff Kingsbury. I like this number on it, plus 5,500. I don't think someone who could realistically see the field that plays the running back position should be 5,500. It should be 3,500 at most.
Before you guys look at Mikey sideways, the whole way this segment started was he cashed a plus 4,000 ticket. That's how it all started. So don't do that. Not on this one. All right. Now we go in order of who got in the club this particular season. And I emphasize this particular season. Alex, do you know who gets to go next?
I don't, Coach. Why don't you tell the good people?
Proppy, you're up, big boy.
Let's go. And we are going with a little-known player named DeAndre Hopkins at plus 1,300 odds, which was shocking to me considering he is DeAndre Hopkins. I believe he scored a touchdown in 2 of 3 games this season. He is going to get 12 to 15 plus targets. If the Cardinals get the ball first, there is a great shot that this man comes down with a touchdown. Love me some Nook Hopkins. Plus 1,300 odds, I might add as well.
You know what's crazy is that he's over plus 1,000 on my book now, too. I can't even look like this. No, I can't believe he is at plus 1,300. Cannot believe it. Some of us have to work in the afternoon. We don't have a chance to sit there and wait for the email to come out to send our picks in.
See ya. Why don't you look at who has replied to the thread like first over the past 10 emails? I bet you it's been Sia 9 out of 10 times.
Today it wasn't, actually. Today it wasn't. I was like 4 hours late today.
Hey, he had a long
You had
trial.
that consecutive streak going for you, Sia.
That's true. That's true. Boy, I mean, the rivalry between you two that has now reared its ugly head. It's
He's
hard
my
to watch.
cousin. He's my cousin. It's family.
Yeah, it's hard to watch sometimes, though. I just know. I mean, you guys are like this. All right, AB, you got in next. Who do you like?
Yes, sir. And I want everyone to understand that tonight you are going to get to witness a player that does one thing better than anyone in the NFL. All right. And that is Jimmy Garoppolo with quarterback sneaks. He learned it from Tom Brady, and he is, watch it tonight, exceptional at it. He's better than Brady. The 49ers are going to get the ball, move down the field, get down to about the 1 yard line. Garoppolo will do it. Kyle Shanahan has been utilizing this week after week after week because he's so agile and has it down to a science. It's phenomenal. Watch it tonight.
By the way, our girl Allison in the chat, she's along the same lines as you, AB. She thinks it's Colt McCoy at plus 3,000 tonight to do the same thing.
He's tough. He's Texas tough. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. You got Alex backing you up, Allison. All right. I believe I know who gets to go next. Just settle in, Sia. Settle in. So now it's me. And last week, I heard all the announcers talking about how this guy's washed up, how this guy can't play. And all he did was grab a couple over 60 yards in the all-important 1 touchdown. At plus 3,000, ladies and gentlemen, your boy looking for a second ticket into the club this year. I'm taking Mr. A.J. Green. He will channel his former all-pro self tonight in Mexico. Cash it at plus 3,000, and I will say you're welcome early. All right, elsewhere, Snake is on Kyle Juszczyk, plus 3,500. I always butcher his name. And then Sia, you, sir, the floor is yours.
Coach, it's interesting. You said you're going for your first touchdown, your second gem. And I don't know what it feels like to have, just one and then kind of be sitting on one. Alex, you got to explain to me how that feels. Because, of course, listen, you guys are like the one-hit wonders, right? And I totally respect that because I'm not in this year. 3 times last year, not this year. But you're like Tub Thumper. You're Chumbawamba, the new Radicals. Teach me how to Dougie. Mambo number 5. They probably play that in the club right now. When I get there, it'll be a completely different story. Look, here's the reality. It's going to be Rondale Moore tonight. He's plus 1,800. I saw somebody in the chat had him at plus 1,200. Not a great number because at most books, he's actually at plus 1,800. I really like him, especially in the short area passing game. Guys like Trey McBride, I think, are viable on the side if you're not on like DeAndre Hopkins or Rondale Moore. I do want to mention Trey McBride because I think he is going to be a target for Colt McCoy, and it's his birthday tomorrow. Got to point that out. But I think it's Rondale Moore. He's going to get a lot of catches, and he's going to get the first touchdown in this game.
DJ Gumby says, Sia is the most petty person in the building. And I love it. Yes. I love it, he says.
You got to be the best at something.
You got to be the best at something. That's true. I mean, it's all about what have you done the last 12 months is really kind of what it boils down to. Now, I was so ready to nail you with something, and then I got distracted, and I didn't do that. Where is the chat question that I wanted to hit you with? And I just lost it. Oh, no. I know what it is. Gentlemen, I think we have found a winner in naming the club. I think we have a winner. What do you guys think? Our man Steven came up with it just a moment ago. Club Cash. Club or Cachet. I didn't see the little, Club Cachet.
I like that even more.
Mikey, you like that?
I love it.
Mikey loves it. Sia?
I like the pylon better, but this is good. Steven, this is great.
Pylon would have been good if we were all Alex.
I feel like it's Gladiator, and I get to decide since Mikey loves it, Sia doesn't.
All right. It's like I'm looking at my 12-year-old son right now.
Let's go.
Oh! All right. I think there it is, live on the air. Steven, put your Twitter handle into the chat. We got something coming your way. It is officially Club Cachet from this moment forward, and I love it. All right. Well, the game starts in 5 minutes. We got to get the hell out of here. You know we like to end every single one of our shows asking my cappers what's the number one thing they're looking forward to tonight. You can use it tonight or use it into the future. Knowledge is power. Mikey, start us off.
Looking forward to a competitive game. Hopefully the Cardinals end up covering for everyone. And Keontae Ingram, I think he's going to be more involved tonight like he was back in week 7 when he scored a touchdown.
See ya. Lori just said in the chat, I love Lori. She says, Sia always gets that 3 times last year. That's the whole point, Lori. You got to rely on something. But I agree. See, I agree. You do rely on it a lot. Your thoughts?
I mean, the irony is that I'm actually having a great betting year. It's just this one little thing I can't get. So if this is how it ends up this whole season, then that's fine as long as the betting record stays great. I like what the San Francisco 49ers in this game. I'm really interested to see if they come out and smash the Colt McCoy and company. And I don't know that that's going to happen, but San Francisco has a real, it's just them and Seattle at this point to win the division. And I think they're going to end up cruising past Seattle, but we'll have to wait and see. Is this the team we all think they are? I think it is that team, but they haven't exactly shown us quite yet.
It's a very, very good point. Alex, try to be serious for a second. What are you looking forward to tonight?
I'm looking forward to the San Francisco 49ers offense. I think this is a matchup where we're actually going to see them choose to attack through the air. No Byron Murphy Jr. for the Cardinals. He is by far their best cover corners. He's been one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL this season. So I think this is a matchup they can win through the air. Looking to see Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel all potentially have big games.
And I am looking forward to the sports books once again looking dumb like they did yesterday when the Panthers got 14 and covered. All these teams are getting these big numbers, but the favorites aren't covered. Because guess what? Dirty little secret. It doesn't matter to them. It's not college. They're not making the playoffs. They just care about W's. Tonight's number is way, way, way too big. What another good show. How much fun was that? All of you new people to the brand, welcome. We want everybody here. Tell your friends. Everybody's welcome. You're valued. Your opinion matters. But it's time to go watch Monday Night Football. So there's only one thing left to do. And do not forget, every single day we'll have World Cup picks on every single game. All right? So if you haven't watched Early Edge in 5, I encourage you to go back and watch it. The first 3 games, early starts. There's picks there for tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., 8 a.m., and 11 a.m. But as I said, there's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, love them all. Property, C Najad, M Squared, AB, the voice of God on the ones and the twos. I am the coach. Damn it. Do we love doing this so much? But without you at home, we wouldn't be here at all. So thank you for making the early edge a big part of your day. See you tomorrow and see you later tonight at the pay window. Good luck.